morning. I'm Birgit from the Wishing Thorn. Sampler designs, original designs, reproductions, pretty much everything. This is Flosstube number 5. I have quite a bit for us today, and it's going to be an interesting road down memory lane. I really have not, I'm going to try and get to one for sure, maybe two unframings, because it's getting to the point where I have to have them all unframed so that we can box up stuff. And I finished that one little thing I'll show you, but it's not finished. It's just finished stitching, so I still have to make it into whatever I want to make it into, probably some scissor thingy. I have a bunch of pictures that came back from Bennett framing, Ramona. And then I have some stuff from the freebie vault and vintage Victorian antique stuff. So I'm going to get started with, I'm going to get started in the way I have it in my head. There are, well, some of you may know, some of you may not know. I collect and love old books. Antiquariat. I think in American it's antiquarian. Not 100% sure on that, but like this. Poetry, Longfellow. So I love them when they're really beautiful and in great condition. And I do read the poetry in there. This one is from, so you see a picture right there of the man himself, and this is 1885. It sort of goes together, you know, in my mind, what, you know, could have been on the living room table or on the bookshelf, you know, in the days when these samplers were stitched. So there is, this one is, I think one of the complete works. Early poems, so it's early works. Don't know how they define that and from when to when this is counted. But I do love these. And there is another young man, old man, ancient man, Whittier. So one of my favorite little books is this. And it's the Whittier birthday book. And most of these you can get in one form or another on the secondary market. But I always try and find the ones that are the prettiest because I'm a very visual person in addition to everything else. So what I love about the birthday book when they compiled this, so there is 2 dates, and on the opposite side will always be a poem. They're trying to correspond them with the dates. And all the famous people's birthdays are in there that were famous back in the day, and they left room for you to add your own. And for instance, April 30th, arrival of Captain John Smith in New England, 1614. And if you'd flip to, probably mostly guys because girls didn't matter, right? May 12th, Robert C. Winthrop, 1809. So these were their birthdays. And then you'll find pretty little illustrations throughout. And I mean, they are really pretty. This is such a treasure. And you know, there are some birthdays marked from whoever owned it previously, but I really love it. And then in the back, they gave you an index so you can write the names in and on what page you can find them. So this was well thought out. I mean, look at this. Is this not beautiful? And this is on the page of November 30th and November 29th. We have Sir Philip Sidney, 1554. And Wendell Phillips, 1811. They both had a birthday. And then they have the corresponding poems. So if you ever have a chance, this is a real enjoyable treasure to have. And it's the Whittier birthday book. And I believe this one I got on Etsy, on one of the antique shops that is on Etsy. So let me see, do I have? Yes, one moment. I have the card from the store. I got this, I think, in my Longfellow book. Hold on. Wentworth Books. That's where I got it. So they have reasonable prices and obviously adorable books. There is another larger version of the Whittier book. Love how these look. They're so beautiful. I have a couple of others that match in this series the way they look. I'm still trying to find more. So this is, you know, really so pretty. The first flowers for ages on our river borders, these tassels in their tawny bloom, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, and willowy studs of downy silver have prophesied of spring to come. Well, yeah, they may have prophesied it there. We're back to cold. It's like upper 40s, low 50s, and we're back into the 30s for 2 more nights. And then here, The Mother of All Mother, The Complete Home. Beautiful book. You can still get it. But what I love about this is one of the early editions, I think 1870. So some of our girls, their moms may have had this, or girls themselves. This is 1888. And Julia McNair Wright. And this is American. So Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Cincinnati, Chicago, St. Louis, Missouri. So that's where this one came from. I'm just going to press on, talk about a couple of things. So everything is mostly written like a book with just ongoing information. And towards the back, there was a couple of interesting ones. There is not too many pictures. It's mostly reading. This is one of the few pictures. All family, baby, kids, probably grandma, mom, kids. And the question was asked, on Sophronia, you are to tell us how to make home happy and to make home, yeah, that's interesting English, to make home happy and give the means of doing so in one word. I thought for a minute or two, and the phrase that would cover the most ground, and said, good management. They went off into a group of young people, apparently to report my answer, and James Frederick returned saying, that word would include a great deal, would it not? And I replied, certainly. The good management must extend to health, finances, order, the training of the children, our, can't read that scribbled out. Our social duties, the making the best of our possessions so that we shall secure from them the largest amount of comfort. It sounds pretty much exactly what we need to do today. And then I thought she was quite advanced. Down here, she has this little paragraph. Well, it's actually longer. And she says, a word on sewers. Sewers are our most dangerous conveniences. They breed diphtheria, fevers, and eruptive disease. Typhoid and typhus and yellow fever are the children of defective sewage. Sewers are, as yet, never absolutely well constructed. They are never in perfect order. If our sewers are not dealing out death, we may be sure that our neighbors are bestowing ruin upon us. So I found that quite lovely. Ooh, those birds are loud out there. And of course, there's also recipes in there. And this is just real quick here because I find this kind of funny. So she has a recipe in here for pound cake, and right below it, cheap pound cake. So pound cake is 1 pound flour, 1 pound sugar, 1 pound butter, 8 eggs, and 3 spoonfuls of rose water, mace, or other spice. That's all you get. Cheap pound cake: 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of butter, 1/3 cup of milk, 3 eggs, 1/2 cups of flour, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So, and there's just like a bunch. So you obviously need to know your household, because she doesn't tell you at how many degrees and in what order. It's just, here's your ingredients, make a pound cake. And I love this. So really wonderful things, which leads on a little bit into, I'm going to be straightforward here. Well, face forward here a little bit before we tilt the camera, because these things are easier shown when I hold them up. So I have some more treasures from my grandmother and my great-grandmother. And these are, I'm going to put them away soon because I want to put them back up. I have several old pieces of furniture from my grandmother. And one of them is this wardrobe, this giant wardrobe, and it has a skinny side with shelves, and then a side with, probably was like in their bedrooms or whatever, to hang, and then 3 big drawers. The lovely thing is the way they constructed them back in the day, this entire thing comes apart and folds. Like, you have the back pieces, the shelves, the doors, all of it comes back, and you can pretty much move it flat with just like the base. That's all you have to pack. And I want to use that when I set up my stitching room once we're moved. And I do want to display some of these things. So this is the clothespin bag. It says Klumman, embroidered probably either by my grandmother or great-grandmother. Doesn't have initials on. I think my mom said it was my grandmother, but that was Klammen, is clothespin in German. So that's where they kept their clothespins in. And you may have seen these, and these were like the shelf liners. And this is just the front piece attached to them. So the back would have like a piece of fabric lined, so that would be flat on the shelf, and this would be decorating the front edge of the shelf. So this is also stitched by Grandma, and it says, geblüht im Sommerwinde, gebleicht auf grüner Au, ruht still ist nun im Spinde, ruht still ist nun im Spinde, als Stolz der deutschen Frau. So let me translate. I can't translate it too literal because then it would sound really dumb. So, geblüht im Sommerwinde. So, hung to dry, geblüht, it's very floral sounding vocabulary, like poetic, I think would be the word. So this is like, dried in the summer wind. Gebleicht auf grüne Au. So back in the day, and I mean, my mom even still did this, they boiled like the whites, and then you laid them out on a meadow for the sun to bleach them white. So, and this is what this is. Where is it? Gebleicht auf grüne Au. Bleached on the green meadow. Au is like also a poetic word for like a meadow. I'm sure you have that in English too, those words. Ruht still ist nun im Spinde. Ruht still ist nun im Spinde. I'm going to hold up a close-up here shortly. And it's resting quietly in the closet. Als Stolz der deutschen Frau, as the pride of the German woman. So let me come in here a little bit and show you front and back. I'm not going to do them all, but I'm going to try and show you what I can. So So this is some of that raised embroidery. I mean, I'm going to try and show you how that sticks up. And her backs were pretty neat. So you can read it as easily back to front. And these are, I want to put back, on those shelves and put them, in that trunk when I have everything set up, because it's going to be our final home. No more after this. I don't think I could ever do this. And remember back then, like 2 episodes ago, I don't remember if it was, I think it was episode 2, when I showed you the little round thing, I don't know where I have it now, with the initials of my dad's mom, and they were so pretty. And I said, well, this was, not what my grandma on my dad's side. So this is actually her initials, and it's the I in place of the J, so it's JK. And I'm showing you this because you'll see in reference some of the things that, my mom had. So this was like rough cloth, either bed linen or tablecloth. I don't know. But that's, from the farmer's side of the family. And I treasured that just as much because it's family. And here come some of the cute things. So for my grandmother, and this is like yellowish. I should try and hand wash this and see what happens, because I know they laundered them. This was probably one of my mom's little sleep gowns. I mean, everything's handmade. The laces were probably from the factory that made the laces, from my relatives, the one that had the dam build. I'm sure they were in business at one time, with a family member. And this is one of my favorites. So this shows me right here. So this is what they had for towels. They were quite large. I think these were mostly used in the kitchen, or they could have been used in the bathroom because there was no Teri towels. But this is actually 2 generations. So OS is Olga Spindler, my great-grandmother, and CF is Charlotte Fuhrmann, my grandmother. And I have one more of these that my mother initialed, and I don't know where it is. It's packed up in one of the other places. And it was so funny because the era of my grandmother, all frou-frou, then a little bit of frou-frou, and my mom just did a plain old DK, nothing fancy, nothing ornamental, just a D and a K, and called it done. And that is so, when I think of it, it's so like my mother, because she was a romantic at heart, but very pragmatic on the outside. And there's, various sizes of these towels. Here's one with, the initials in white. And here, don't laugh. These are Grandma's bloomers. I mean, everything. Got the little rubber band to pull them tight. She's got a beautiful hem with stitching along the bottom and the lace. And she made like a split on the sides. And of course, as a real Victorian woman, you also had to have your monogram in there. So I have those. I also have the matching little top for it. These could still be worn. I mean, this is such a beautiful cotton. It is so soft. And this needs a little mending because one of the corners came apart. But this is, I don't know if this was her nightie, because it is quite long, or just her her whatever robe, you know, under skirt. But these are all really nicely, and they're hand sewn. Like there is like the split again on the side, but this one's closed. Let me hold this up. There's her monogram on the chest and the beautiful little stitching and lace work. And the sleeves. I mean, this is all, it's such a treasure to have. And I love how she was able to line up the corners here and make them so perfect. Nice attention to detail. So that is Grandma's nightie. And then since we're in the bedroom, I don't know, I don't think I can show you the whole thing, but along with this came this very sheer, it's king size bedspread, and it's just sheer gauze, and it's got like this lace, looks crocheted, tiny crochet, you know, everywhere in there, and you know, just you can see through, and it's got this big star in the middle. I did use this at some points, but not since we had the cats. I would not even dare put that on a bed. So then it has, let me try and unfold this for you just a little bit. So then here, the center has like this star pattern, and the sides all have this, hold on, a zigzag going down the side, and it's also the edge is like zigzag triangles. So it looks really, really gorgeous when it is on a bed, and especially if you have a pretty, you know, blanket underneath, comforter, whatever. But let me move these over. These are so fun. I have to wrap them up carefully again and put them away for quite a while. But I figured before, you know, we pack all this up, I wanted to show you. So then my sweet sister, my little sister that lives in Berlin, she's always thinking of me, and she gave me this as a gift. At one time, she found it. Normally, it's like I tell her, go look for me and find me stuff and buy it. But this she gave me as a gift. So this is like one of the showing, learning to sew samplers. So it shows all sorts of hems, buttons, attaching buttons, hooks, all of that. Then a little bit further down, some open work and embroidery, and then of course Miss Ullmann. And I think I love how she showed you how long it took her. 1903, 04. So 1903 and 04. And then of course some more border around the bottom. So this is really, I don't have this one framed or anything. It's, you know, once it's open, it's quite large. It's in the museum box, and I pull it out. Once I have the perfect spot one day, it will come and be hung on the wall. So that is the memory lane, and which I'm going to end with a picture of my grandpa's family. So this right here is my grandpa. So my grandmother's husband and my mom's dad. And this right here, so this is his parents. I don't I mean, it's on the back. I'm not going to take it out, but I know this was the little sister, Caroline, Tante Caroline. And Tante Caroline was like, she wasn't the same town as my mother when my mother was, married and, in her early years. And she was sort of like a shoulder to lean on for, for my mom. And it's so funny. She also, so Tante Caroline taught me how to iron. And every time I iron, she just pops right in my head because I remember my mom once made me iron the dish towels and they weren't doing so great. And Tante Caroline was over for a cup of coffee. And she looked at me and she's like, well, that's never going to go anywhere like that. You're just wisping over there. You need to iron and put some force into it to get those wrinkles to come out. And then she took over and she showed me how to iron and get the corners right and apply the right amount of pressure and everything. And every time I can't get wrinkles out of something, it's like, oh, I'm probably not pressing hard enough. There's Tante Caroline again telling me, press harder. So that is it for, I think, oh no, but this is too big to do top down. So one of the samplers, and Selina Ellis, and she is pretty much out of the frame. She's going to stay on the piece of wood she's on, but she is quite large. So I wanted to just show you her, but I also wanted to show you her frame. So she is partially charted, but I bought her because of those beautiful little wolves. And of course it has this beautiful little house. So pretty. And such vibrant colors still. The roses. And a really cool border. That looks like spring, doesn't it? So there's no date, but I think I found her. I can't remember. I think I made notes. I have like a little booklet where I put the notes in of, some of the histories I find. And I know I have her in there. So just to give you an idea, and this is heavy. She came in this. This is her frame. And it is a monster. Here's the chain. This is like 30, 36 probably. It is huge and thick. I mean, this was the original frame. So I kept everything. It is a beast. So I'd say this is bigger than a normal coffee table would be. So, and this was by far the most expensive sampler I had shipped from the UK. None of them were as expensive as this one. It cost more than the sampler because of the huge size. So let me move it over and flip the camera and we'll get on with the rest. Okay, and yes, I found some more bee stuff. Just figured I'd pop this in. This is so old, but I love it. So this is a little, got batting, piece of fabric glued to it, little heart outline, a little chunky face with some wires, and then, oh, I forgot the name, what the little round quilt things, there's like a smaller one, a medium one. These are all the same size, and another smaller one. Oh, what a cute little bee that made. Love it. And this was stitched by my friend Karen for me in 95, it looks like. And I don't remember whose pattern this is. You guys might. But it's real fun. Bee skep, bees, and bee. Love it. And I want to show you, because these are also getting ready to be boxed up. So these are all patterns that are in the freebie vault. So these are bits and pieces from, so this is from Elizabeth Laidman, and scissor fob, and these are so exquisitely finished. And I hang these on the tree as Christmas ornaments. And there, this is from my great-grandmother's little pillow. I did this one. It's not as fancy as the other ones, and it hangs on the tree. And then there is, this one is for Harriet Charlesworth. And these are fabrics from Country Sampler, from Jean Horton's collection. I just posted her sampler. That came back beautifully. Probably saw it behind on the wall. This was Evie van Merbeek. Made such a pretty ornament. And some French fabric. And this is the bunny shepherd with half the herd. It's a little bit larger, but still fun. And this is Harriet McEwen. I love her sampler. This is from her border. Well, everything is from her sampler. So how pretty did these turn out? I will link them. And, oh, before I forgot, there's also a half sampler I found in my box. I had totally forgotten about it. So this was, I can't read who owned this. There is somebody's initials in here, but they're really, it looks like it was cut off here, and there's definitely stuff missing here. So this is, you know how far. And these are the same kind of initials my grandmother used, so it probably was from around late 18, early 19. No, late 1800s, early 1900s. Almost had that messed up, and I love this right here. So pretty. And now comes my fail, but Kathy is so inspiring over at Linen and Scraps, so I think I will come up with something. So this was a Teresa Vensler peacock tapestry. And I started this, oh, this was like 30 years ago. And this was as far as I got. And I decided, heck, I'm never going to finish this, but maybe I'll just keep this part and make something beautiful with it. And I may actually one day try to restitch it. I wouldn't want to stitch it on this kind of fabric again, but this could be, it's too big for a bookmark, but that could be like a really nice closure for a bag or something. I don't know. Challenge to Kathy. What can I make with this? I hope your leg's better, your knee. And some more vintage stitching on Tiny. Don't remember who the maker of this is. I mean the designer. It's been hanging on my wall forever. It's so pretty, isn't it? Should have wrote that on there. And then this has sheep that remind me of shepherd's bush, but I don't think it is, but I may be wrong. So this is also a sampler from long ago. And what I loved about this was that you stitched the scarf and then you made a little fringe and the little mittens with the chain stitch here. It's just was so much fun. right here, more fringe. And then there's the little houses. Little Lamb, it's probably the name of the sampler, Little Lamb. My gentle friend gives up his coat as snow begins to make my mittens, scarf and hat, and I stay warm because of that. How cute. And then the little birdhouse button. The whole thing is just adorable. I would probably choose different colors, but back in the day, these were the colors. I stitched this in 93. So cute, cute, cute. And oh, before I forget, I got this. This was one of the things I got on Etsy lately, and I thought it was so cute. And it's from the Stitching Hue. So she makes these cute little strawberries, and she attaches them to an old spool of thread with a few buttons. How cute is this? I love it. That could actually be made into an ornament if I would just attach a little loop, and it could be like a little stitchy ornament hanging on the tree. I love this. So Stitching You, and you like the sheep, E-W-E. Okay, so these are from Bennett Home, so Ramona Bennett. They have a frame shop. Their website sells a whole bunch of stuff, like not just framing. They also sell home decor and I think even jewelry. So they do a fantastic job. Let me just hold this up so you can see. BennettHome.com. And this is the Swan Sampler original design. And the frame she chose is so beautiful. Just perfect. You know, a little bit of rusticness. Love the rope and the colors. Just pick up everything out of the sampler. So, so pretty. So this is one. Now comes two. This is Twilight Woods. Also perfect frame match. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It has like a little bit of a, don't know if you can see that, a little bit of a sheen, like a copper brass tint to it. This is one of my favorite samplers. It's also one of my original designs. I just love the colors on this. Then comes Night Thistle. Gorgeous frame. This is very popular. It's also original design. Very, very popular pattern. Oh, one moment. Gotta take care of the cat. Okay. Let me show you. There's a little bit of bead work. I always like to have some beads. Sparkles are beads in my designs. And then the Emily Field. Real pretty rope frame. This is actually quite substantial. Honey, no. Mommy's working. You have to wait. And Emily Field, 1861. It's one of the pretty red work samplers. And then let me go grab my most favorite frame. This was, actually let me move this over. The Catherine von Boskirks. So besides being gorgeously framed, the most unusual thing, and you can't catch that in a picture, is the pattern goes in. So this is about an inch, what normally is wide, this is down. So what's up front is very narrow. The whole frame is like wide. This is easily 2 inches right here. And it just is set in like in a shadow box. I did not want glass at this point. We'll add the glass later, but the glass would sit all the way down there. And that is so hard to show on a picture, because when you look at it like this, it just looks like a regular frame with this. You can't tell that it's actually going down. So this is so cool. And of course, I love the... Yes, honey, I heard you. Mommy's going to pause the video and take care of you. And that's Catherine. And I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Say hi up here. Say hi. Look, there's me, little stinker. Bye. Okay, and now we have room on the video for one. I don't think I can do two because that would take too long. So this is Mary Noah, and she is a fairly, I can tell by the nails, it's a new frame. So it's another one of those that were put with this. I hope that this tape comes off a little easier than the last time. And she has a few flaws, but we'll look at her more closely when I have her out of the glass. So this is, and let's hope this is not a frame I plan on keeping. I don't think. No, there's nothing that really speaks to me. Well, maybe if I paint it. Let's see if this works better. Nope, gotta go get my other pliers. These are a little more. So these nails may look wimpy, but they are quite strong. So I'll do a few and then I'll pause the video because this always takes some time. And when I'm down to the last nail, I'll come back in, okay? Okay, down to the last two. This kind of backing must be popular in England. I have a lot of pictures that come back with this kind of. Oh, yeah. So this is, I'm sure you're familiar with it. Not fantastic. So interesting. So they just put some tissue paper in between. And that is actually quite stained. Look at that. It has the pattern on it. Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. That doesn't bode well. So let me carefully grab her. And then I'm going to move the frame and we'll take a look, see if there's anything funky on the back. So first, let's take a look. Oh yeah, there's all sorts of debris falling out. Well, let's look at the front. Okay. So this is, I posted about this in my Facebook group, and let me go get my holding. Where's my holding board? There it is. And we were trying to determine what kind of animal this is. And I think I have now come to the conclusion it's got to be like a mule or something. Kind of like a, probably because it looks like it has like a little saddle and harness. Don't think the ears, the way they stitch the ears, it's horses. My husband thinks it's a horse. I was like, the ears are too big for a horse. So who knows? So here are, let me show you some of those frayed edges. So this is, one of the little floral motifs. Her border is really pretty, kind of unusual too. I like geometric design borders, so I do love how she did this. And her cartouche is very pretty too, with the little leaves going around. And it's symmetrical. I mean, very symmetrical. Look at these flower pots right here. Are they not gorgeous? I love those. And they got these, they look like carnations, but I know they're not. So pretty. And then the rooster up there and the butterflies. So everything is symmetrical on this, except even the, even the tree, the two birds here, and then these birds and these birds, they may have different colors, but they're placed in the same, which I understand why she did that, because that was probably easier for her to stitch that way. So the only thing that is not, mirror imaged is this right here, the rooster. And of course, some of the border is, not all corners are the same. But how pretty is that? But this is definitely in the ragamuffin category. So let me flip it around and see if I can see anything right at the top of my head here. What would have chewed on this? Yeah, there's like probably one old culprit. Right there. That. Oh, that reminds me. I saved bugs for you. Hold on. Let me grab them. So let me put this over. How are you going to see this best? Because these are white. Let me find something dark. Ah, there we go. I can use this. So these are two bugs that I found, and I put them in a little baggie for you guys. So this was one, and this was an egg sac on the back of a sampler. Let me flip them. So when you see white fluffy stuff, no matter how big or how little, be suspicious. I don't know what would have come out of these, but, or if it already had, but that almost looks like a caterpillar to me, this thing on the left. But I am not a bug person. I don't know enough about bugs, but avoid those on your stitched pieces. So when I see this little thing here, I would give it a closer look later on. Chances are, most of the stuff is gone already, dead. She's not the neatest stitcher, was she? A little bit all over the place with that tree. But she's going to be fun. Fun to chart. I think she was Scottish. I can't remember. I didn't do my homework on this one yet. So I'll let you guys know. And, oh, update on Eliza Jane. So my stitcher that's stitching her, she's got the first page done. And it was more or less, I can release the pattern. I just needed to be sure. I told her because she's stitching it on 36 count. So you can see the that the flower thread, which I thought was only, you know, okay, up to 32 count, but it shows you can actually stitch with it up to 36 count, which eliminates the problem of trying to get a hold of some wool that would work in a higher count. So this allows people, because it's such a big sampler, and I wanted to find a way to that you can actually stitch it on a smaller count. So with the flower thread, you can actually go up to 36 count, and it makes the sampler like, I think it was 15 by 17 on 36 count. I don't have the paperwork in front of me, so it should do really well. So I think it's a wrap, guys. I think I did everything. I think I remembered everything. And we did an unveiling. Yay! Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I really, really appreciate all of the comments. I love reading them. And half of them, you know, when my husband's willing to sit down and listen, I read them to him. Sometimes he rolls his eyes. And it's just so fun to hear from you all and to see you, and that I actually have a little bit of something to give that is of value to you. I really appreciate it. And thank you, guys. Love you all. Bye.